My name is Meeson, and I'm a Korean American artist working in Los Angeles and South Korea. I work in a lot of mediums ranging from sculpture, painting, installation, and public art to video and animation. The connection point between all the different mediums is the concept behind the work. So I'm very interested in biomorphic forms, taking microscopic elements and expanding them larger, and finding that connection point between nature and technology, the built environment and the natural environment, where those intersections are or where there's crossing points are. If you think of microscopic elements like cells, they're just smaller units that build up into a larger form. So I kind of see my practice following that same system. It's a universal concept of smaller units creating a larger whole. This is a piece I'm currently working on. I started it by first capturing a microscopic image of cork bark. The shape that material naturally makes was always interesting. So I took that as the first initial sample and then sliced it up, looked through the microscope and captured some imagery from it. And what I did was I scaled it up and cut it into sections so that I could actually print it on multiple 3D printers and create like a larger form. I actually use ink to create the coloring. So you can see there's a slight gradation that happens. And I'm using PETG, so it's a plastic filament, really durable. My background is a little strange in art because I started art in the second term of my second year of college at UCLA. So originally I was an English major and I was going to do all of that, but my brother had passed of cancer and he was 15 at the time, so I was really struggling with trying to figure out how to deal with loss like at such a young age, and trying to find meaning out of that. And so it seemed like words weren't enough to capture all the feelings and the situation at the time. So I abandoned words actually, and I thought, you know what I need to do right now is just like go to the art store, just buy some clay, buy some paint, and just start making things. Through creating, everything started to kind of click and make sense. And so this is why you'll see oftentimes like a lot of very biological elements in my work. And then again, tying in the cycles of these forms that come together or either fray and break apart and reflecting like systems and cycles in life. This is one of the animations that I created. And over here you can see the base geometry of the initial parts of the animation. And then from there I'll take maybe like a still frame from the model, and then if this were to be purchased as NFT, then there's like a physical 3D print. And this is a resin print, so you can actually capture a lot of details from the model itself. Even like the tiny holes and the tubes that are on the interior. If I were to pinpoint something that draws me to that tube form, is really like initially in my young age, spending a lot of time in the hospital while my brother was going through the cancer treatment and all of that. And I think that like seeing that, like all the tubes going into the body, I think that just really that image stuck with me to this day. And the form of tubes, it's really like this container for the flow and movement of material. And often I'll be interested in what looks like parts of organs or umbilical cords, or the way the network of veins in our bodies looks really similar to the network of root systems in trees, and comparing those and combining them together so that it's either here nor there and it's this other form. So I'm not really interested in representation of like a biology or nature per se, but like a reinterpretation of it. The way that I get started on a project is I'll have maybe one word, things that like have motion or action, and then that single word I'll focus on, and that will become the first sketch, and then that will become the first 3D model that I work on. But that's just the beginning. Oftentimes when I'm working with the 3D printing, there's always these very interesting things out of my control that happen, like the glitches that happen from the machines. So it's like capturing those happy accidents and then implementing it into the work. The 3D modeling came as a necessity. When I was working with public art or doing a lot of public art, I would have to create these proposals, and the 3D modeling became integral to the practice. I actually started my first public art piece, I think back in 2010, and that was always really interesting for me because with public art, it was very different from contemporary art in that it wasn't enclosed in the gallery space. Now there's this big sculpture that anyone could just walk and view, and it was open to the public. It was 24/7, which is similar to what's happening with NFTs and digital work and the metaverse. I've always just been fascinated with technology and incorporating it into my work. And at this point, I'm also working with some augmented reality, which is really exciting to kind of explore. It's like just another layer to the practice. I've been creating these files to pair as NFT components to the video animations. And most recently, I went to the Laguna Art Museum and I did a piece there. For that piece, I was actually thinking more of it like a digital asset that someone could place in their home, in the street, wherever they could imagine it living. So I wanted it to be more open-ended, and what I showed at the museum was a piece that tied into the work that was exhibiting, but it doesn't necessarily have to live in that space. So I kind of like the work to be able to just spread out everywhere. So NFTs, I wouldn't say it's impacted my art practice. I would just say it's just another way to show or exhibit the work. And I think that's what's most interesting, is that it's not this exclusivity that comes from the contemporary art scene. It feels more open and very community oriented, and it seems like artists are looking to help each other and build each other up, and I think that's really exciting. It's a really magical and incredible time to be an artist in this period with all the technology and the tools that are available to us. It's, yeah, really incredible.